Good morning. So today what I'm going to be doing is starting a APRS iGate project. And if you're not familiar with APRS, some radios like this particular Kenwood transmit packets known as APRS, and mobile units do. Some base stations are even connected to weather stations that transmit their packages over the air and to the internet via APRS. There are two types of interfaces. There's the the digipeater, which is basically a repeater that picks up the RF signal, rebroadcasts it stronger. That's the purpose of a repeater. It also transmits those packets to the internet. There is another function called an APRS iGate, and that unit does not retransmit. It only listens and then transmits its packages that it really receives to the internet. So to get the best coverage, especially for our ham buddies, the more iGates or digipeaters there are, the better coverage there is. So I encourage all of my ham users to put up an APRS iGate at minimum. They're very cheap and very inexpensive to do. This project could probably be a multi-video project. We're going to be using a Raspberry Pi and an SDR dongle to create that iGate. So this is the first of those videos, and we're going to go over to the bench here a little bit and show you the first part that we're working with. Okay, let's get over there now. Okay, so for our next ham radio project, we're going to be taking a Raspberry Pi and a Teratech USB RTL-SDR dongle. You've seen videos of me using this previously as a SDR, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be connecting this guy to this guy, but how do we hold this thing? Let's take a look at the option that I chose. I'm going to set that aside for right there, and then we're going to look at this guy here. Now I picked this kit up off of Amazon. There will be a link down in the description. Let's take a look and see what's in here. This is one of their better kits because we're going to be leaving this guy running pretty much 24/7. I wanted some special features. We have a fan, a couple of heat sinks. Now this one does come with its own Pi power supply. That'll come in handy. And then here's the box itself that we're going to mount it in. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so here's the Pi itself, or the box itself. It's one of these layered ones. There's many layers to it, and it's got the cutout for the fan, and it's got all the appropriate slots back here for the Ethernet and the USB. Here's a slot for your SD card. Holes here for your power and your HDMI. Okay. So let's see how this guy mounts our Pi. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so we've just used a small Phillips is all you need and broken it down. Now I have been very particular about pulling the layers off and rotating them and keeping them in order. Not that it would be super difficult to figure out how to put them back, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to have to spend your time doing that. Now it did come with 3 little heat sinks. Those are pretty interesting, and I'm probably going to get a little pair of these. Are not well, actually these are round nose, but they'll work for what I'm going to do. So we're going to put the heat sinks on first, and they just got a little peel back. Okay. So you peel that off. This is probably the most difficult part of it. You don't have good fingernails. And then we're going to mount these on the chips. And that's where I'm going to use this for. This is going to help me get it where I need to go, maybe. There we go. And we're going to line that up with the chip. Trying to make sure that it is as squarely as possible. And then give it a good push. Alright, let's get the rest of them on here. Okay, so after looking at this one, before I mount this heatsink, I want to get the Pi actually in here because there's not much room. It looks like if you get it off center, you might have some trouble getting this little guy lined up. So let's start putting it together, and we'll see how she fits. Okay. Again, I've just flipped them over. Okay, this has got to go here. Now, there's not really super great instructions on putting this guy together. Now, here's where we start lining things up. Okay. I'm going to fire the video back up here. I haven't installed the fan yet because this appears to be the most difficult part of the entire build, and that's getting this little film started. Man, I had a booger of a time getting this thing to start, but once you get it started, it seems to come right off. So, all right, so now we will proceed with getting the fan installed. Okay, so here's the fan after it's been installed. Now, the instructions are not super great. There is an airflow. You know, which way do you want the air? Do you want the air going this way, or do you want the air going that way? It really doesn't say. The fan is really not marked as such. So the best thing we can do is go by guessing by the picture, which shows a little sticker on the bottom side. So that's the way we did it. Whether it's right or wrong, we may find out. Now, the other thing that it tells us in the instructions that came with it, it gives us where to plug it in, which header pins to plug it into. Up here it's going to tell you the power that's on the pin, but then it actually gives you a visual representation of where you want to plug it in. And since there are different voltages, 3.3 and 5, you can pick whether you want a low speed or a high speed. Now, this isn't going to be anywhere that I hear it, and it is going to be on running 24/7. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it high speed. I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll take a look. Okay, so that was actually fairly easy to do, even with my big fingers with a little pair of needle nose. To just grab the cable and poke it down on there. And as you might be able to see, I'll tilt it up here a little bit. We've skipped the first pin, and we're going red and black, or positive and negative, on the second and third, as it shows in the diagram here, like this, or up here you can see there. Okay, so here's the completed assembled Pi in its case, and I gotta tell you, this is probably one of the better cases that I've actually seen. The fit, the finish is good. Everything, here's your slot. If you didn't want to run that fan, you could plug something in there. And the slot there, if you wanted to put the little touch screen on it. There's your audio, your HDMI, your power. Everything's very accessible. There's your micro SD slot. Okay, the way it's cut out, it'd be very accessible. So the very last thing we have to do, which I didn't want to do until I got this case on, is to put this heatsink on, and I wanted to make sure I had this on here first because it's kind of a tight fit. Man, I need some smaller needle nose, don't I? I need some needly nose, but I think this will work. We should be able to just drop that right down on there, give it a good press, and there we go. All right, so for the money that you pay on Amazon for this case, I think it's a very good value. You get a case that actually fits the Raspberry Pi very well. It seems pretty solid once it's put together. You get a power supply, you get a fan, you get 3 heat sinks. So there it is. The Raspberry Pi is now ready for my next project, which is going to be the APRS iGate. And so the next video will actually show getting the software downloaded and installed on the Raspberry Pi and getting the RTL-SDR dongle connected up and working. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you very much.